making you more motivated. But the problem is,
hey, hold on, Heather, you're on a roll here. I got you. Okay, guys, this is a beast of a nutrition expert, guru, fitness trainer, gym owner. Heather, just say what you just said about peptides, and just kind of speak to that.
Well, a lot of questions that I get when people start a peptide is that they claim that they're getting more motivation to do the thing that they were avoiding. So when they're doing the peptide, and I'm all for it. The problem is that I see the people that have been using the peptides, and they don't really know what they fixed. It's great that they fixed the problem. It's great that they have the motivation, but they're unsure of what were they deficient in? What was wrong in the first place? Versus what we do with isogenics is we're giving you the answers to what the root problem was all along, or else you wouldn't see the results. The results are a direct reflection of putting in action on something that you were not doing well. With a peptide, you're putting an action in, but you're not really sure why your body was deficient in that action. For instance, if you're taking a GLP-3, retatrutide, you're not just working with leptin and ghrelin, being the hunger hormones. You now have a GLP-3, so you have an insulin component there. So insulin has to be cleared for blood glucose to move and to be able to go high and low. So the reason why semaglutide, Wegovy, tirzepatide is not effective for 50% of the population, it's because your blood glucose, that was under 100. You were not truly a diabetic. You weren't truly struggling with blood glucose, so you end up with gut issues. You have no clearance. A GLP-3 will go and give you that clearance, but you still don't know why you're insulin resistant. You still don't know why, so you don't know how to go fix it without the drug. Right. With isogenics, we know how to fix it without the drug. We don't just help you get there. We help you get there and stay there because we know science. We're working at the science of the root cause, the foundation problem that have been dismissed over and over and over, not only by Western medicine, but sometimes us, just because it's been the way of our world. It's the way that we brought up. It's epigenetics, not genetics. There's no shame in anyone using peptides, but you need to understand that at the end of it, you don't have the answers. So even with all the motivation in the world, you can be so motivated because you got the weight off. If you can't keep it off without the drug, you have not fixed anything. You've merely just covered up, masked the problem that's been there all along.
Do any of these, let me ask you, do any of these mobilize toxicity out of the human body?
No.
Okay, do any of these fix the mineral deficiencies in your body?
No, in fact, it can make it worse because it can clog down the kidneys more, therefore causing more of a methylation issue.
Okay, can they help with inflammation?
Yes.
Okay, so it can help with inflammation.
Retatrutide can, GLP-1 cannot. A GLP agonist cannot, unless the main problem that they had root cause was because of blood glucose. They're a true diabetic, and they're getting some of that inflammation down based off of high levels of blood glucose for an extended period of time. Retatrutide will bring down that insulin because of how the drug acts on insulin. The problem is we have no idea if you ever repair that, if you ever get that back. If that ever comes back to your natural levels of insulin, it could potentially make you insulin resistant forever, therefore being dependent on a drug to keep you from having Alzheimer's and dementia down the road.
Right. Okay. And then the last one, does it lower cortisol levels? Is there any research on that? Potentially, yes, no?
That's a tough question because we want our cortisol to rise in the morning and then fall as it goes throughout the day as serotonin picks up. But the problem with cortisol is how much it's thrown around with, especially female issues and what cortisol does. But putting something in that lowers inflammation will change cortisol. The problem is, again, what do you want it to do? So if you're putting a drug in and it changes cortisol, as soon as you're removing it, you're going to change back. But cortisol is mostly driven by lifestyle. And I haven't seen or experienced a whole lot of people having lifestyle changes with these drugs. It's more foundational changes of what the drug puts on them and how they react to the drug. For instance, hunger, meaning the drug comes in, it makes you less hungry, you have less cravings, you're not craving the sugar, you're not going to snack as much, you're not going to overeat as much. That's put in an action versus someone, let's say like me, I'm getting ready to go into a bodybuilding show in a couple of weeks. For me, when I adjust down and I have to go into a deficit, I have to just wait. I have to be hungry for a little bit until my body adapts down to that deficit. That's a little bit more of the work. I know how I'm getting my body there. I know why it's doing it. That's going to change my cortisol in an appropriate way because my cycle is every 30 days. So that menstrual cycle is going to have a lot to do with how cortisol changes. So making sure that it's deliberate and responsive versus doing something that's so fast. Anytime you take down muscle, you're going to increase your cortisol response. It puts too much stress on the body.
So when you lower muscle mass, you increase, wow. And so we know when someone's following protein pacing, intermittent nutritional fasting, the average Joe is putting on 4 to 9% lean body mass, which is muscle and bones and organ density. So that naturally is going to move, stress the body out less because it's being supported because our muscle, bones, and organs are the foundation of everything. So, so when people are coming off of these,
that's to your point of why we encourage anyone that is doing the drug, the absolute best partner you can have with any of these GLP drugs is to have a protein supplement. You can't get enough of the nutrient dense food from a chicken breast, fish. I mean, we can't even hardly get it off the boat, but no one is taking it off the boat and eating, or with the chicken, if you're killing the chicken and processing it yourself, that's about the only way you're gonna get 50% of that versus our grass-fed, undenatured way, which you're getting over 95% of those nutrients going to your body. So instead of the food being starved because it goes through 3 packaging plants before it lands at your grocery store, the number one thing is you can pair yourself with something that's gonna help keep that muscle right away. You're not waiting for weeks to build that protein up using chicken and fish and eggs. Eggs is the best you could do, is to get those healthy omegas. But you've got to have a great source of protein going in there. And you have to have something also to help the cells talk to each other better. And that's where the detoxing comes in and helps with that protein synthesis. It truly is systematic why you need to partner with something that helps you with exactly what that drug steals from. One steals, you've got to help it. When you don't have it at all and all you're doing is this, you're going to get to the same result. You're going to get there. You just don't think you can because somebody's convinced you that it needs to go faster and you need to see it right away. They're not really talking about how important it is that you sustain that results for years and years and years. Like Blair, you and Michael have been with me for years. We've been doing the same thing for a decade or more.
12 years here. Dr. Paul, 14 years. David Sinclair, 17 years. My dad, 12 years. Yeah. We lost the weight. We basically have managed it. I mean, we have little ups and downs, like, little 5-10 pound fluctuations. But walking testimony to, if you're just consistent putting this nutrition in, you shred it off, you keep it off, and you're just sail off into the sunset. I mean, it's just kind of that.
Really, and I mean, even as Blair was talking about, like some of the things she noticed, it's like you notice little things all along. You're like, oh, why don't I just take my time and observe how much muscle meant to my journey? And she was like, I mean, I can do things faster. I can play with my kids. I can do more activity. She's doing 3-on-6 with her volleyball team now. Like the things that you don't, that's the wins along the way versus you think you're going to have a win by injecting, losing the weight, getting the compliments. But if it's happening at the expense of losing muscle, therefore your cortisol, it does change. And cortisol, we know, matters a lot, especially women. I'm going to tell you what that changes. And it's not just cortisol. It's higher progesterone. It's higher estrogen. Your hormones go up. They act out during luteal and then they tank every other time. And now you're in perimenopause or whatever they want to clinically describe it. But you're doing it to your body because you're losing muscle. Literally everything needs to be set up to keep the muscle. And if you can grow it, get it as big as you possibly, get it as efficient as you can, because it is so hard to lose long-term dense muscle.
Yeah,
like,
I've
been lifting for 10 years. I can go off on a month vacation. I'm not losing that muscle. But if I take that drug and that drug changes my hormones a lot, I'm going to lose that muscle a whole lot faster. I've worked 10 years. I can lose it in 10 weeks.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, no, and I'm not, I wasn't a gym rat. I'm not a trainer coach like you are. So I'm an average dude that just was a former athlete trying to keep it together and doing life. And I've just casually over 12 years have stacked 25 pounds of muscle. My legs are the biggest they've ever been. I had chicken legs forever. And now they're starting to look, like turkey legs or something. I don't know, whatever. But they're
it's great. The best
I almost
what's cool is that you look back and you just go, man, I've grown so much. You learn to appreciate the body composition change. And you realize that, hey, somewhere along the way, I lost the idea that weight loss is attractive. And I started looking at body composition change is the most attractive, because body composition not only got me there, it motivated, it was like, cool, I didn't know my body could look like this. That's cool. And then you go into more and it's like you get to explore more and more. Michael, for you and I, we like staying in the gym. For Blair, it's getting involved more with her volleyball team. It's doing that, but it's adding in just a little bit of gym. I mean, she's as average of putting that in, but it truly is just the benefit of seeing how much muscle can help. And I'm going to continue to go back to telling you, I am not anti-medicine. I think that there is definitely a space, but the lack of awareness, what I'm explaining to you now can absolutely change your path to understanding peptides, using them more efficiently, as well as if you need an argument for why this versus that, or what are we doing that's different, because it's really not a comparison. There's nothing that compares to using the system that John Anderson brought 25 years ago with detoxing and adding a fine quality, the best quality protein. Those two things together, if you understand what that'll do for your body, you won't keep questioning which medication is going to help your body, because you're going to see that was the deficiency you were missing all along. You were not born deficient of drugs. We were not born deficient.
Right. It's the environment has created this 911 emergency situation, and I always use the analogy, the ship's, headed into a giant cliff or rock in the ocean. and you got to crank the wheel hardcore left to get it to go center. And that's what people are having to do versus, if we all along, we had just been making nice little subtle changes, more protein, a little bit of detoxing, adaptogenic herbs, get our mineral deficiencies in check, then we can gradually move towards optimum health. And I love everything that you're saying, Heather. Thanks for all your insight. I will download this video, send it to you, and you got to share it with everybody, and get this message out.
Like I said, main point being, the reason we say this is just ask the question. Ask the question of, do you understand what you're fixing? If anything goes into your body and helps create a change that is for your benefit, what is it changing and what were you doing wrong? You've got to be able to answer that question to have the best informed consent for yourself moving forward. We can consistently answer that for you. It just might be the thing that you've been missing all along. So get into the basics, breaking it down, stay open-minded, stay informed, make sure that you're giving yourself the best chance to not only win, but win long-term, win in the healthy aging game.
There you go. Long-term, guys. Lifestyle.
Healthy aging game.